Good afternoon, everyone. We're joined by General Manager Jim Nill. If you have a question, please use the raise your hand function, and we can go ahead and get started with Matt DeFranks. Matt?
Hey, Jim, can you just take us through the process of today and standing pat?
Yeah, well, we didn't totally stand pat. We picked up a player off waivers, Sammy Vatanen. The reason for that is just we're a pretty banged up group right now and not sure of our injury situation, and to be able to pick up a player of Sammy's attributes and not cost you a draft pick was important. So it's something that worked out well for us. And then as far as standing pat, we've had discussions, been a lot of discussions actually over the last 2 weeks with teams, and in the end, where we're at with our team, with the injury situations and our push for getting in the playoffs, we thought it was just better to stay pat, that there just wasn't any moves out there that made sense at the time.
Next, we'll go to Mike Heika. Mike?
Hey, Jim, where is Vatanen at in his career right now? Has he learned a lot defensively in New Jersey? And does he fit in well? Because he's of Finnish heritage.
Well, I know Sammy way back to his draft days, actually. I was talking to him today, and it goes way back. He actually played with Rupa Hintz in Finland, so they have a good relationship there. They played on the same team. But he played in Anaheim, was a very good player there. Ended up getting traded to New Jersey, and actually I think had a stop. He was traded to Carolina last year, the trade deadline, but was injured. Never got a chance to play in the bubble, I believe. But he's a good player. He's competitive. He's got experience. And as I mentioned, with our situation right now, with our schedule and the injuries, we just thought it was a good player to add at the right time for our group.
Next, we'll go to Saad Youssef. Saad?
Hey, Jim, what was this entire trade process like over the last 2 weeks, and how was it any different than seasons past, and what was the general vibe?
Different in some ways and not different in other ways. You got to add this whole COVID situation changes everything. There was some stipulations with some teams as far as, quarantines and protocols. So that just changed some things. And then, probably the biggest thing is the expansion draft. That changes it a lot. You got to be careful what bodies you pick up. If you pick up a player who's not an expiring contract, that can affect your expansion draft. So a lot of different things went into play. And then the other thing is a lot of teams in the mix, with the new format that we're playing in because of this, the COVID season. You can move up and down in the standings very quickly. You win 3 or 4 games, you move up quick. You lose 3 or 4, you move down real quick. So you're playing head to head every night. So it really, those things really do impact the trade deadline. But I would say the expansion draft is the biggest thing that comes into play.
Our next question is from Matt DeFranks. Matt?
Jim, do you have an update on Andre Setera?
He's getting an MRI today. So I'm just waiting for the results on that.
Next, we'll go to Mike Heika. Mike?
When can Vatanen play? Will he be here fairly quickly? And 2, can you give us updates on Sagan, Radulov, and Bishop?
Yes, Sammy's flying in tonight and should be able to play for us tomorrow. We're hoping we'll go through the protocol process, but he should be fine to play tomorrow. We'll get in here for tomorrow morning skate and see where he's at. Updates, Sagan is approximately 2 weeks away. He will start skating with his taxi squad now. The tough part with this whole, bringing players back is we never practice anymore. And to get players back up to game condition, game speed, get in the grind of everyday scheduled hockey, we don't have that ability. And so he's going to start skating with the taxi squad. Ben Bishop skated today with the taxi squad. Kivi Ranta is scheduled to start skating on either Wednesday or Thursday. With his injury, he hasn't been able to skate yet. And then Radulov is going to be seeing a specialist here this week, and we'll make a decision on him, what his time frame is.
Next, we'll go to Saad Youssef. Saad?
Hey Jim, with Jamie Alexiak, was it just was it offers not blowing you away, or was that never really on the table for you guys?
Well, I'm never really going to, say what went on with all our players and all our moves and that. But Jamie's a guy that we want. He's a big part of our core, and I think he's a big part of our top four defense. It's as good as any defense in the league when you look at it, and he's a big part of that. And so he's a player that we're hoping we can get re-signed here. We got to work on the expansion draft comes into play with this also. So, but he's a big part of our team, and unless somebody was going to make me an offer that was something I couldn't say no to, we did not have any plans of moving Jamie. And we're in a real battle for our playoffs lives right now, and he's a big part of that. And as you saw last night, the goalie scored. He's been playing 20 plus minutes of the night, and out of respect for our team and how hard they've been playing, battling through the schedule and injuries, like I said, unless I got an offer that I could not refuse, we were not going to move Jamie.
Matt DeFranks, go ahead.
Jim, as far as some of your other pending UFAs, was it tempting for you to try to get something for them versus maybe letting them walk in the summer for nothing?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, we talked to teams. There's lots of talk. I've been talking to teams the last month pretty well, and in the end, you have to make a decision. We have a team bound for the playoffs, or you're going to get some type of a draft pick for them. And part of it's with our injury situation, with the injuries we have, and we're just in a situation. We're in a real battle, and I think it's more important for our players to continue what we're doing. It's about winning here, and we're trying to get in the playoffs, fighting for our lives. And we don't, because of our injury, don't have a lot of depth, and to get rid of those players just wasn't going to be the right move right now.
Next, we'll go to Mike Heika. Mike?
I'll give you the other side of it now, Jim. How tempting was it to add something to give those guys a boost and say, we've had these injuries. Here's a guy who could really help. I know Vatanen is one of those, but there were other guys out there.
Yeah, no, we talked about Vatanen, and that's what we did with that. We know that we're banged up group right now. We're playing every second night, and it is a grind mentally and physically. And so to be able to, once again, to be able to add a player that didn't cost us a pick was very important. I've given up a lot of picks over the last couple of years, and it's important. We got to start replenishing the system a little bit here. And so when Sammy became available on waivers, we knew that was one way. It didn't mean we were going to get him, but in the end we did. So that worked out well for us. And we did talk to other teams. We did have discussions. We were looking to add some other players, but in the end, the acquisition cost just wasn't going to be worth it.
Next, we'll go back to Matt DeFranks. Matt?
Yeah, just have a few follow-ups on some of the injured guys. So Sekera, is there a best case that he's back soon, or are you guys planning on him being out for a little bit?
I tell you, I have no idea until we get the MRI. The MRI will show what the damage is, but right now I have no update on that. I don't know if it's short-term, long-term. That's why he's getting the MRI done.
Okay, and then on Sagan, the 2 weeks is 2 weeks until he's playing games?
That's what we're hoping. Yeah. Now, I don't like to give exact dates because these things, when you're coming back from major surgery and rehab, things can change quick. And we'll have a better feel once he starts skating with the other players, getting into the taxi squad, getting some game. You want to replicate game action as much as you can. And we'll see how he responds to that.
And is Bishop around that same timeline, or are you confident that he's going to be back this season?
He's right now, he's on the same timeline. Once again, he has not skated with the main group yet. So once he starts taking shots, starts getting more action in games, moving around, we'll see how his, how he responds to his rehab also.
And then Radulov seeing the specialist, is that to maybe decide surgery options or decide kind of where he goes from this forward?
That's discussing all options. We want him to see, he wanted to see another specialist. We wanted to see another specialist. See, is there an opportunity to play, or is it better off just to have surgery now? That's what will be determined here.
Next, we'll go to Saad Youssef. Saad?
Hey, Jim, in talking about your the defensive situation with the injuries and everything, when you have a young player like Thomas Harley, is that even an option, or is that is just let him develop in the AHL for the entire year?
No, Thomas is definitely an option. He's playing very well down there. The key is we want him playing big minutes. And to come up here and be in for a game and play, 10, 12 minutes or play more depending on how he plays. Right now, it's more important for him and his stage at his age and his development to be playing every night. He's playing 24, 25 minutes down in Austin, getting lots of action, and it's the best thing for his development right now. But he is an option. He is an option if, sorry for cutting you off there. He is an option if we get more banged up. He is definitely a guy that's an option to bring up if needed.
Just to follow up on that, how much does the games for the entry level contract slide factor into that decision?
That doesn't really come into play. If he's, I get back to if somebody's playing, if you're coming up and you're going to be playing 17, 18, 19, 20 minutes a night, you know that you're an NHL player and you're in the lineup. But I don't want these young kids coming in playing 5, 8, 9 minutes and playing every second or third game. And right now, that's why we think it's best in the American League. We forget sometimes he's junior age, and it's a big step. And the other thing is we're in a fight for our playoff lives, and this isn't the time where you just bring in to see if a guy can play or not. Whoever's going in the lineup now has to play and has to do the job.
Next, we'll go to Mike Heika. Mike?
Hey, Jim, the trade deadline brings up all sorts of talks about where you are, where you can go, what you can do. How do you feel about this? If you can get these players back, you're 6 points back with 3 games in hand, and it just seems like this is something you guys could do.
Oh no, you go down that dressing room, our guys, they believe in themselves, and they've played that way. I give a lot of credit. I can, we haven't got the job done. We haven't got it done yet, and we've missed some opportunities, but I cannot fault the work ethic and the commitment that players have given every night. As a group, our organization, we've gone through a lot, and it's the players, it's the coaches, it's the trainers. This COVID, what we went through, and then the winter storm, really, it reaped havoc on our team. It was tough, and it's still affecting some players, but they have battled every night. We're in almost every game every night, and we always don't get the results we want, but there's no quit in our group, and that's what impresses me. So, we just want to, we talk about the trade deadline and bringing in players. We've talked all along, day one, if we can get Sagi back, if you can get Rads back, if you can get Bish back, Kivaranta's out, you start adding those players, those are elite players, and we've missed them in a lot of situations, but you start getting those players back, those are as good a trade additions as we could have, and they're not costing us any assets.
And our last question is from Bruce Levine. Bruce?
Hey, Jim, when you saw the schedule after the winter storm and you saw the schedule, you guys knew it was going to be tough physically on the players. Now that we're weeks into this, is it tougher than you thought it was going to be? What are the effects you're seeing that you didn't expect?
We knew it was going to be tough. When I saw the schedule, I sat down with the coaching staff and the trainers, and we started to try to map things out, practice times, when do we get rest for the players, talking to the training staff, and we knew it was going to be tough. Is it tougher? It's what we expected. I think the toughest part is the mental grind. It is a grind. When you're playing every second day, it just wears on you. You might have a big win and you have the high with the win, and then the next day you got to regroup and get focused again, or you have a bad loss and you got to travel, and you throw in the combination of the travel, playing every second night. It's a mental grind, and it's on everybody. It's the training staff. There's just little things you don't realize, like when we go on the road, whenever we go play in an arena that has an NBA team, our training staff cannot get into that arena till the next morning, about 5 a.m. So they're getting up at 3 a.m, moving the equipment in to get ready for that next morning for the game. So it's taken a toll on everybody, but our group are very resilient, and they never quit. And, we showed that in the bubble last year, and they're just going to keep moving forward.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, Jim.
All right. Thanks, everybody. You guys take care.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep.